And welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, old school Rich. Thank you for joining. I am yours truly, Dr. Sabrina, the Success Broker. And we are going to be with you tonight on day number 9 of 29 Days of Love. Yes, thank you for those hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please share with other people that we're on and we're talking about all things love. How do we make it through these things we call love? Well, tonight we're going to dive right in because I told you every night for the next 29 nights, we're going to be right here at 11 p.m. on the nose talking about love. So, tonight's discussion is learning how to fight fair. Because don't you know that in order to have love and keep love and stay in love and love your kids, you're going to have conflict? Don't you know you're going to have conflict? So I want to talk about what things do we do to learn how to fight fair. Because sometimes we don't learn how to fight. We don't learn how to do this thing because conflict is a coming. Anytime you're dealing with people, I don't care if it's on your job, at your church, in your marriage, with your children, with your friends, you are never going to always see things the same way. So it is so important that you learn how to fight fair. So the first thing I want to do is to tell you the 5 different conflict management styles so that you can really look at yourself and say, well, what's my management style? How do I handle conflict? Think about it. When stuff comes at you and you don't like it, what do you do? The first conflict management style is to dominate. To dominate the situation. And an example of that is that we're going to do it this way. We're doing it my way or no way. If we don't do it my way, I'm not playing. I'm taking all my marbles and go home. But some of the pros to that is that, yeah, generally it happens fast. That happens pretty fast. But some of the cons to that is that it can offend someone else. It could cause someone else to feel like they're not being heard. So you don't want to just stay in a dominating role. So the next is to avoid. And in avoidance, you just kind of walk away. You stay out of trouble. You don't want to fight. You don't want to, you're just avoiding it altogether. But some of the negatives is that it could build up resentment. It could also have people having unresolved feelings because the person never really talked about how they feel. And see, this is found in a lot of people who may have issues with their self-esteem. They don't like conflict, so they avoid it at all costs. Well, you don't want to devalue yourself to the point that your voice has no bite. It has no meaning. You have a right to feel the way that you feel. You have a right to get your voice heard, but it's a way that you do that. So you can't just avoid it. But if you're working with a bully, if you're working with somebody that you're afraid of, then avoidance may be what you come up with. The next one is to accommodate. Accommodating is just about keeping the peace. I'm just gonna keep the peace. Whatever you say, boo, I'm just gonna do you. I'm just gonna accommodate you. But in accommodating, even though you may keep the peace, you may also run into the opportunities of having some hurt feelings that are unresolved, and also having resentment that down the road that my feelings have never been heard. My attitude, my emotions have always been swept to the side. And so you want to watch that whole accommodating to please someone else. And that's seen in people oftentimes who want to just please someone else. They have the disease to please. They want to make someone else happy. But sometimes it's important that your happiness is at the forefront as well. Then the next one is to compromise. And when you compromise, you give a little, I give a little, and that could be cool. It's helpful for the issue. Thank you for those hearts. Thank you so much. But it also may be helpful if the issue is complex. If it's a complex issue, then you may need to do some compromising. You may need to come to the table and write it all down and say, okay, and some of the drawbacks to that is that both parties give up something. So nobody gets 100% of what they want or what they need, but the compromise is for the greater good. It's to make sure that the issue is resolved and it's resolved safely, for lack of a better word. And then the last is to collaborate. I love the word collaboration. Collaboration builds mutual trust. It builds commitment to the person or to this connectiveness working together. And so when you have that, it takes time. It's just not going to happen overnight. It takes time and it takes energy. You're going to have to put some time in. You're going to have to talk about it. You're going to have to go back to the drawing board, because when we look at conflict, there's one piece that is necessary to resolve conflict appropriately. And that one skill that's needed is empathy. And I remember the first time that I even heard the word empathy. I think I was in my undergraduate program at Eastern Michigan University, and our teacher said, today we're going to talk about empathy. And I can remember being a little cocky, thinking I knew something, and I leaned over to my person sitting next to me, and I said, she don't even know what she's talking about, because the word is sympathy. Crazy me, not knowing that the word really was empathy. And empathy is when you're able to look at a situation from the other person's point of view. Oh, that is such a necessary skill when you're dealing with conflict. You have to be able to stop and look at it from the other person's point of view, because in that, it's never just about you. And so in any conflict, you don't get to resolve if you're just looking at it from your point of view. If you're just looking at what's going to make you happy, and you're always beating the other person down or telling them what's wrong with them, and never really looking at how it's going to benefit the whole and not just you. So empathy skills are necessary. So when you're talking about collaborating, you're going to have to stop and look at it from the other person's point of view. And then also, you're going to have to learn how to manage your anger. That's going to be a whole nother talk show. We're going to talk about anger. What do you do with anger? How do you calm yourself down? What happens in your body when anger shows up? Because in those relationships, you're going to have to learn how to fight fair. You have to learn how to give and take. You're going to have to learn how to empathize and really stop and look at it from the other person's point of view, and have open, honest dialogue. And then the last piece, besides empathy skills and anger management skills, is really to get into a problem-solving model. What are your steps to solve a problem? Have you identified what the real problem is? I don't know about you, but there's been times that I said one thing was the problem, but I'm still holding on to something that happened 2-3 weeks ago, and I ain't let that go yet. And so I'm really feeling that still in my spirit, and that's showing up in my irritation and my agitation. So we have to first be honest with ourselves about what the real problem is and what the real issue is, so that we can communicate it. And so as we close tonight, learning how to fight fair, understand what your conflict management style is, and learn how to move yourself to the collaboration piece. The collaboration piece is the most powerful piece, and that's the piece that requires the time. It builds mutual trust. And if you want to know what your conflict management style is, you can email me. I'll send you an assessment. You can take the test and find out where you're at, where you need to go. And that's at Sabrina@SabrinaJackson.com. Again, Sabrina@SabrinaJackson.com. Beloved, I thank you for joining me tonight. I want you to learn how to do this love thing right. Love everybody, not just the people that you can manipulate and do things for you, but learn how to fight fair, because we all need to learn that skill. So until tomorrow, 11 p.m., I love you. I will see you tomorrow. Take care.